The latest release of Vantage DX includes out-of-the-box Microsoft Teams performance overview dashboards that deliver deep visibility into the most critical issues impacting users. These dashboards help you eliminate guesswork and resolve problems faster. I'm going to walk you through a couple of scenarios where the end-to-end visibility provided by our latest release can have a big impact.
So let's take a look at our first demo scenario here. It's really how to spot issues even if users don't open tickets. We know that only a small fraction of users who have user experience issues with Teams or Microsoft 365 will actually raise a ticket. But IT really needs to get their arms around that because, as I mentioned earlier, if users are having difficulty, it's sapping productivity from the organization, right? They may be trying to fix the problem themselves. They may be talking to peers, asking others for help. And really, we want to make sure that all the employees in an organization are effective. Here's our Vantage DX analytics interface, where we're summarizing all the activity for Teams for your organization. So we get a breakdown of the call rates, whether it's meetings, PSTN, the volume of calls as it relates to call quality. And again, in the context of trying to understand if users are having poor experiences, regardless of whether they've raised a ticket, we have a pretty good overview here, including a geographical view of where poor and failed calls are happening around your organization. And below this map, we call out the top affected locations and top affected users based on how many poor and failed experiences they've had. And from any of these views here, we can drill into location-specific dashboards, but also user-specific dashboards that give us more detail about that user. So let's drill into one of these users, and I can show you what kind of information we get about this user. So here we've drilled into the user dashboard for a particular user, and now we've filtered this dashboard to only show us the data we have that's relevant about this user. So again, from the overview dashboard, we've identified this user has had a significant number of poor and failed experiences. And regardless of whether they've raised a ticket, we want to understand what's happening and see if we can help them become more productive. So here we can see there is a pretty low good call rate with quite a high number of poor and failed calls happening across all connection types. If we scroll down here, we can get a breakdown of the ISPs that are being used for those calls. And we can identify some patterns here. In this case, we see that there's it's not one particular ISP that's the problematic part of the network here, but it's distributed across many ISPs. And in the bottom here, if we keep going down, we can actually see the details of all the calls that this user has had. And again, we can drill into the details of these calls to get more information, but we can see there has been a high number of failed calls, the type of call that's happened, as well as the reasons for those poor calls.